Hello, everyone. My name is Rashid Ali. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant based in Ontario, Canada. October has certainly been a very busy month for IRCC, with 7 express entry draws, including 3 consecutive draws in 3 days. So, today I'll be taking you through some of the most important updates from last month. So, let's dive right in. Let's begin with Express Entry updates. Express Entry draw number 372 was held on 14th of October under the Provincial Nominee Program category. In this round, 1,000 invitations were issued with a minimum CRS score of 765 points. This draw focused on candidates who had already received a provincial or territorial nomination, and since a PNP nomination adds 600 points to an applicant's comprehensive ranking system score, most invitations went to those who were already nominated. For candidates with a lower CRS score, pursuing a PNP nomination remains one of the most strategic and reliable ways to secure an express entry invitation. But how to pursue PNP nomination is the big question. And for that, I do have a lot of videos on my channel on different PNPs outlining their criteria, their calculation, and how to score good points and be successful. So you can check those out. Moving on to the next draw. Draw number 373 was held on 15th of October and focused on healthcare and social services category. A total of 3,600 invitations were issued with a minimum CRS score of just 431 points. This category based draw targeted professionals in key healthcare and social services occupations such as nurses, social workers, physiotherapists, and early childhood educators. This draw highlights IRCC's continued emphasis on healthcare related professions in 2025, aiming to address the ongoing labor shortages in this sector. And what this means for you is that if you have a master's degree, or let's say a professional degree, maybe you're a physician, and you have a score of CLB 9, chances are that your CRS score would have been in the range of this draw, 472 points. And if you are someone who doesn't have a professional degree, but you have a master's degree, you can still end up in this range. Or perhaps you have a sibling who's a Canadian citizen or permanent resident. So if you are a healthcare professional, scoring 472 plus points is not impossible. It is very much achievable. So keep an eye on express entry. Make sure you go through your IELTS or French language exam, CELPIP exam, have your ECA ready, be in the pool of candidates because you do have a good chance of being invited. All right. Next, express entry draw number 374 was held on October 27th under the PNP category. In this round, 1,220 invitations were issued with a minimum CRS of 752. This was the second PNP only draw of the month, and again, which highlighted IRCC's partnership with the provinces and the focus on getting quality skilled professionals in different provinces. Then again, on October 28th, IRCC held draw number 375 under the Canadian Experience Class category. A total of 3,200 invitations were issued with a minimum CRS score of 533. This was the first CEC only draw in several months, offering a significant opportunity for individuals who have been working in Canada with at least 1 year of skilled experience. And applicants who are on PGWP, postgraduate work permit, or LMIA based work permits, they should definitely keep their express entry profiles active and updated. Sometimes I speak with clients who are losing precious points. Just yesterday, I was speaking with someone who have their spouse with them in Canada, but their spouse haven't written an IELTS exam yet. And if they just score each, 6 out of 9, basically CLB 7 in their IELTS, their spouse, they get 12 additional points, and which almost brings them very close to this cutoff. But they didn't know, and that's why it's important to check your CRS score. Make sure you're not losing any points, and especially take advantage of all the low hanging fruits that you can. Next, we had on the very next day, we had a French language exam, French express entry French draw, which was held on October 29th. And in this round, 4,100, sorry, in this round, 6,000 people were invited with a minimum CRS score of 416 points only. So you can imagine this is, um, for those who speak French, this was quite easy. You didn't even need a master's degree to qualify through this round of invites. If you had a bachelor's degree with a decent score, language score in English and French, 3 years of work experience, and maybe you're around or in your early 30s, you would have been successful. So this is a big advantage for those who already speak French, for example, citizens of France, some African countries. But I see a lot of people, especially from South Asia, who are learning French. They're doing pretty good. And gradually, they are also becoming more competitive and participating in the French express entry round of invites. IRCC also introduced special measures for 2025 wildfire season, which basically meant that if you were impacted by these wildfires, IRCC enabled you to request a free replacement of your lost immigration documents, such as your PR cards, work or study permits, and they were processing your applications with a high priority. IRCC is also providing flexibility on status restoration and compliance deadlines for those whose ability to meet the requirements was disrupted by these wildfires. And again, initiatives like these show IRCC's commitment to acknowledge and address the real life challenges faced by immigration clients during the natural disasters. Now, several provinces also conducted nomination rounds in the last few weeks, so let's go through them now. We'll start with Newfoundland and Labrador. They issued 73 invitations and then a few more invitations for a total of 100 invitations, where they invited people mostly in the healthcare category as well as early childhood education. And that reflects the province's focus on these two sets of occupations. And you can see this across Canada. Ontario, other provinces, BC, and even the federal government is focusing on healthcare professionals, early childhood educators. So if you belong in one of these categories, you should definitely at least create an express entry profile so you have a fighting chance of success. Next, let's move on to Prince Edward Island. They invited 159 people through their express entry and labor impact streams. This province actually prioritized candidates in healthcare, manufacturing, construction, which again aligns with all of the other provinces in terms of their focus. They also targeted international candidates from international graduates from University of PEI and Holland College. So if you are someone who's looking to study in PEI, this is a good sign. PEI does prioritize its students, its graduates, and so far in 2025, they've invited 1,240 people through their round of invites. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the chat and I'll try to address them at the end of the call. Okay. So PI also had another, let me go back so you can see. They also had another unplanned round of invites where they invited another 160 people. The focus was again on healthcare, skilled trades, and the streams that they used to invite candidates was labor impact and express entry streams. All right. So now let me take you to Alberta. Alberta conducted 5 draws targeting various sectors, including technology, healthcare, agriculture, and aviation. And the CRS cutoff was was very low. It ranged between 300 and 420. So hopefully you were invited during one of these round of invites. And they again highlight the same trend. Healthcare professionals, they remain in high demand across Canada, as well as some of the Alberta specific streams. For example, the accelerated tech pathway is again a very good stream to have if you are a professional who's employed in one of the few tech industries. And if you've been following my channel, you'll know that we're running an ongoing series on how internationally trained healthcare professionals can move to Canada, how they can obtain their license and secure PR. If you haven't seen them yet, check them out, and you'll be able to see if you qualify as a healthcare professional or an early childhood educator, and be successful. Let's move on to New Brunswick. New Brunswick introduced a temporary support measure for candidates under the Atlantic Immigration Program. Because the PR processing times has been increasing from 13 months to 37 months, some of the workers face risk of losing their work status. To address this problem, the province will now issue letters of support for C18 closed work permits, allowing the affected workers to maintain employment while they wait for their PR decisions through the Atlantic Immigration Program. So, if you are an Atlantic immigration applicant, uh, you can request a letter of support by contacting Immigration New Brunswick and take advantage of this process. Manitoba continues to focus on inviting skilled workers who are already in the province. They invited 29 people, mostly through 19 out of these 29 were for candidates who were holding a facilitated work permit under their temporary public policy. These candidates were those who were already working in Manitoba while waiting for their PR to be processed. So this approach helps the province retain essential workers and reduce labor shortages. The remaining invitations were issued through Manitoba's strategic recruitment initiatives, which include employer-driven, regional francophone, and ethno-cultural community programs. Again, overall, this draw reinforces Manitoba's targeted strategy, focusing on people who are already in the province and have a strong settlement potential. So sometimes I am in call with people who ask me if Manitoba is a good province. So if you are already working in Manitoba, yes, it can be a good province, but otherwise, it is very competitive, especially if you're not in the province currently. IRCC has also increased the intake cap for Francophone minority community student pilot from 2270 to 2970 applications. And what this means is international students who are pursuing French language education outside of Quebec now have a greater chance of getting PR. To be eligible, applicants must be enrolled in a French language program outside of Quebec, and they must complete at least 50% of their coursework in French, demonstrate French at a language of at a level of NCLC 5 or higher, and participant in this program can also sponsor their dependent family members for open work permits and later include them in their PR applications. Also, some update on temporary resident numbers. Between January and August of 2025, Canada experienced a decline in both international student arrivals and temporary resident admissions. The trend is largely because of the stricter policies like study permit regulations, enrollment caps at DLIs, and longer visa processing times. But this trend is expected to stabilize next year. Let's see how things work out. So if you're targeting January or May 2026 intake, you should start preparing early, submit your application timely so you can benefit from next year's cap on time. That's basically it. IRCC has demonstrated active management of multiple immigration priorities, ranging from targeted express entry draws and PNP coordination to support measures for individuals affected by natural disasters and international students this month. And as of 2025, as the year ends, applicants are advised to be proactive by keeping your profile up to date, Make sure you know how your CRS score is calculated, and you maximize your CRS score by taking advantage of all of the opportunities that are available to you. For example, language exams, spousal factors, and if you are someone who you think can learn French, that's definitely a very good asset going forward. That's it for now. Let me just quickly see if there are any questions that I can answer. But if you need any help or you need one-on-one advice, you can visit my website or this scan this QR code to schedule a call and we can discuss your case. Okay, there is a question. Please explain pathways. Which pathways are we asking for? Please, ICT work permit and PR pathways. So Farooq has asked this question about ICT. Farooq, I have many detailed videos on the channel on intra-company transfer. And basically, it used to be much more attractive in the past because you were able to get 50 or 200 points through an ICT after working in Canada for 1 year. That is no longer an option, but you can still benefit from a closed work permit and gain that exposure. But other than that, in terms of gaining the actual points, that option is not available right now. But do check out the channel. I think I have 2 or 3 detailed videos on intracompany transfer, both from an applicant's perspective and also from an employer's perspective who's looking to hire someone. Okay, see a few people on Instagram. I think there are no questions, so I'll just close the call. Close the recording. Thank you so much, guys. If you need any help, scan the QR code and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much.